Hello everybody, my name is Alan from Sauber-Lab, and today will be another video about TrueNas. And if you wanted to build your NAS system or your search for a robust system that you can get your data, will be safe, will be stable, and you don't need to worry about lose your data, TrueNas will be the best option. This reason that I will show how you can install, how you can set up, and how you can configure it. Basically, in the previous video, I showed how to install TrueNas 12, then I installed how to install TrueNas Scale 23, and now it's the revision 24. And I have a slight difference, slight modifications, and that I wanted to go for this video and the next videos to explain step by step how you can configure it, how you can install your applications, how you can make sure that it's working for your application. If you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more about it, we're going to show in this video, but first of all, don't forget to leave your like, consider to subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed, and let's understand a little bit more about it. As I told, in this video we're going to show how you can install TrueNas. And to understand a little bit more how we can install TrueNas, first we need to come in the website for TrueNas and see what is this system. If you come here, they say that it's a really stable system that has been used for really big companies, look like Amazon, Samsung, Delta, and continue on, have a lot of awareness, and that it's a really stable system. If you come here, they will say lots of things, they will give us a lot of enterprise options, but what we're going to focus will be in the community option. So if I come here, get TrueNas, and come for community edition, here they will give a little bit more overview for what you're going to have. And if you look here, they will say that is a Docker Compose option. You can have apps deployed 3 times faster, cloud backup, RAID the expansion, module for drivers, and continue on. Also, they say that's flexible, reliable storage, robust dock application, VM systems, and they will explain about the ZFS, because this system is based on ZFS. TrueNas always be considered a good system because they open system for the file system, that is Open ZFS. Also, they say that's unified storage, and continue on. Have everything in mind. What we need to do, we need to come here in download, and we need to choose what revision that we want to download. In download, they give 2 revisions. The first one will be the current revision, and the other one will be the old revision, what you can manually update from the revision 23.10. Remember, we're going to install the latest one, 24.10, what's recommended, but before we start, you need to understand that you need to set up your system. To set up your system, you cannot use any really old computer because TrueNas don't allow it. You need to have at least a dual-core 64 bits, you need to have minimum 80 GB of RAM, and what they recommend is 1 GB for each terabyte that you have of storage. So suppose that your system have 4 terabytes, so it's recommended for you to have at least 12 GB of RAM memory, otherwise they will start to be slow, they will not work as you expect, and this is the compromise to have TrueNas. You need to have a little bit more robust system. Also, you need to have at least 16 GB of storage for your OS, and this OS will be a dedicated hard drive. Don't try to use a shared hard drive for storage, cache, and OS, because it will not work as expected. Also, they say that it is recommended for you have at least 2 identical hard drives. Why? Because then you can run as a mirror. If you run only with 1 hard drive, they will work, but if 1 hard drive fail, you basically lose your data, and they recommend to be a safe system. This reason that they say have 2 run as a mirror. If you have more, would be better, but minimum as a 2. Also, you need to have a network connection. If you don't have network connection, you don't have a cable, I suggest you don't use Wi-Fi, because they will not work as expected. They will be breaking, they will not work. And I don't believe that TrueNas have support for Wi-Fi anyway. Also, they say that you don't need to have any RAID drive or any RAID hardware. Why this? Because they will create a virtual RAID. Basically, the software will do all the calculation, use a little bit of your CPU, use a little bit of your RAM memory to create this RAID. Could be mirror, could be RAID 5, could be RAID 6, and continue on. So you don't need to have a board there. You can have only SATA connections, and that's connect your hard drives and make this RAID. Have everything in mind. They will allow you to do download. What we're gonna do? We're gonna download this option, and because I'm using virtual machine only for this setup initial video, I don't need to record it or write it in a USB stick. But I suggest you to use a real computer, not a virtual machine, because virtual machine will not be stable, will have lots of issues, they will not work as I expect. And also you want to have this system 24 hours if you could put as a virtual machine, so why you don't have all the storage directly on your computer, because if your hard drive in your computer fail, this virtual machine will fail, so you just lose all the purpose to have this system running there. Anyway, what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this virtual machine, and here this virtual machine I will open here only to explain a little bit more about this setup. So this system works with Linux and specific Debian. This reason that I select Debian 64. I put 12 GB of RAM memory. Let's say if I have a 4 TB, in this case will be really small storage, but I suggest you to use at least 8. Processor power, I put 8. I could run it at least with 2, but I want to install it quite fast, so I wanted to have at least 8. And acceleration, I don't need to do anything. If I go down here, and here in the part of storage, that's more important. Here in the storage I have a lot of hard drives. Why? The first one with 20 GB will be my US. I could be 16, yes, I could be 16, but 20 it's easy. Not to really use this data for my computer. They only allocate that space, maximum 16, but they only use as much data they are. Also, I have 2 hard drives that is 40 GB, identical. What I will do my mirror, and the last one I will use for cache. Remember, we're gonna only use as a read cache, not as a write cache. Why this? If I have only one hard drive or one SSD as a cache, if I use as a read, and all the data will be written first in this cache, and that after with time they will read in my hard drive, and this hard drive stop to work, basically all the data that was in this SSD will be lost, and I don't want to afford it. If you want to do a write cache, use at least 2 SSDs, and that's to set up then as a mirror. Otherwise they will not be safe for you to use. In this case I will put only a read, so a lot of information that is set up as a read, they will read there what I use more often, and that will speed some data, but they will not speed for writing, only for read. Also, I will use my network as a bridge. In your case, if you're using a physical computer, you basically connect to your network. Don't use Wi-Fi, as I told, they will not be stable. And basically this, no more configuration that you need. I can come here, okay, and I can start this virtual machine. Once that I started this computer, I needed to set up to boot as USB, and that I will have those 2 options. Once that you put start, they will appear this page, what allowed you to install upgrade, this allowed you to reboot and shut down. So we come here, install upgrade, we're gonna select what hard drive that you want. As I told, SPA, that will be my main storage, and the rest will be only my RAID, and that will be my cache, so this one is okay. I select put space and put enter. They will rephrase, please don't use a USB stick. Why don't use a USB stick? Because the chance that you fail your system using a USB stick is really high, so don't try to use it. And I will put yes. I have 2 options to install my system. I can already go here and create as admin, TrueNas admin user, and that's they will ask me to set up the password, or I can come here and say configure to use web UI. Let's say that I don't want to set up my password in this screen or this display, so then I can go directly my first login. They will ask me which options. If you want to create a root user, I suggest you use this option. If not, you can only click here, and that they will ask you to set up the user. In my case, I wanted to select the second option and put enter. They will ask, you want to allow the UEFI boot? Yes, because it's new model that I'm using. If I have a really old computer, I needed to select as legacy, but UEFI, it's great for me. I'll put enter, and that's it. Basically, the installation is complete. Now they will start to format all my hard drives. They will start to make all the downloads, configurations. This will take around 5 minutes, so then we can come back later. So let's wait this one to finish to do all the instruction and installation initially. Once that installation has been complete, they will give you this page, what you can come here, put OK, and now we can reboot our system. Remember, if you go to reboot your system, make sure that you take out the USB stick, otherwise they will run installation again. So as standard, they will ask you to start your system TrueNas Scale, and that this first initialization will take a long time. Why? Because they will read all the configuration, they will read all the data that was copied to your SD card or your storage, and then after this one they will create the apps, configure the apps, and make sure that everything's working. In my case, I think that took around 5 minutes, so we need to wait these 5 minutes until you can go for the next page. So let's wait. Once that you see this page, it means that the installation has been completed and you can now access the IP address 192.168.1.139, and here it's all the rest of configuration that you can do. Now you don't need to worry about this computer, you can put aside in somewhere, you don't need to use more the screen, only you need to access this IP address. So already open my screen, and here they will give 2 options. If you select already to have the admin user, they will not give this option, only ask you to do the login, but in my case I can decide to use the root or the TrueNas admin. They don't recommend you to use the root user because you're gonna have permission for everything and potentially can mess up. As a true admin, you still have permission for lots of things, but then if you go to the shell and want to use as a root, you need to do sudo su instead of red connect as a root. So now we're gonna set up the password. So we'll come here and set up my password and put singing. Now make sure that you remember this password, otherwise you're not gonna be able to recover this password, this user. Here they will give a little bit overview for a system. It's 5 minutes working, it's a generic platform, it's the revision that I'm using. Here will be the use per core, this one will be the temperature. I don't believe that will appear anything because basically it's a virtual machine, so it doesn't matter what's the temperature for my system. Here will be usage, store, how much memory that I still have free, my storage, my backup system, my IP address, and my network utilization. First thing that you need to do, you need to configure your storage. Otherwise, as the name say, storage network attached. So if you don't have a store, basically you don't have anything. So let's go to create a pool, and here will be where you're gonna create a pool. So let's put as a home, and I put next. Remember, if I come back here, I can encrypt my system. If you encrypt your system, remember that you need to remember this password, otherwise if you lost it, all your data will be encrypted. If you wanted to migrate this system for another, you need to recover your RAID. Remember to keep this password safe. In my case, I don't need to do it, so I will leave as unencrypted. I'll put next. I'll select the layout that I want, or the main system, the data, and here I can select strip, mirror, and others RAID. In my case, I will put mirror because I have only 2 hard drives and makes sense to make mirror between both instead of select as a strip. If I want to select the strip, yes, but they have no redundancy, so if one hard drive fail, all your data is fail. You're gonna have a big storage, yes, but you have unsafe storage, so make sure that you use a minimum mirror or any kind of RAID if you prefer. So now I'll select the storage, so I select the 40 GB, and they automatically give this information for me. I can change, yes, I can change it, but as a manual selection, they will give this information. If I'm not happy, I can delete this storage and create manually. In my case, it's exactly what I want, so it's totally fine for me. Now I come here and put next, and this one is the cache. Remember that I say that's write cache? Yes, the write cache is not a device for you to use as a single storage. So this reason that they don't give this option, if you go for strip, they say your data can be lost if you power off your system without have all the information there. So if I come here for mirror, they allowed me to do the mirror, but I have only one SSD, so they will not let me to do this configuration. This reason that I will not configure anything. So I will jump this one, and I can select the spare. This spare means that if you have RAID 5, let's say you have 5 hard drives, 4 will be running in RAID 5, and that's if one of those hard drive failure, you can have this spare RAID for you to only jump in place. Let's say that if you're outside or it's a data center, you don't need to drive straight away for there, because the RAID will be recovered using that spare hard drive only as a safety precaution. Of course, if your two hard drives die at the same time, your data is lost. This reason that's a redundancy, not a backup option. Anyway, we'll not select this option. We go for the cache. This cache will be read cache. It means that the data that you use more often, they will be in this read, what will accelerate it to access some files. This is good for, let's say, Nextcloud, when you have all the database there, Plex, when you have all the database, and continue on. They will think what application that read more often, and that will live in this reading cache. What allowed you to read it fast will not increase the writing speed anyway. So I will select this for my only one hard drive or my SSD, and then I put next. If I want to select a different one, I can come here and select which one that I have. In my case, I have only one available, so I cannot do any extra configuration. And I can put next. Metadata, if I want to use it. In my case, I don't want. The same thing for that app, it's optional. This is that I'm not going to use. And now I can review my system. If you look here, the cache will be my one SSD, and my data will be the mirror between my two hard drives. Now I can come here and put create pool. They will say all your data will be erased. I'm happy with this. I will put confirm and create. Now this stage, they will create the pool. If you're using RAID 5 and have a really big hard drive, let's say 12 terabytes, 8 terabytes, and have 5, they will take a little bit longer to create this pool, because they will be reading, processing, everything. In my case, it's only mirror, 2 small hard drives, so they will be really fast. And here they will give all the information that I have. You have your data, you have your cache, and the rest it's not signed. If you want to modify, yes, you can modify, you can create some, you can add some dev, you can add some information, this one, but in my case, I only want to leave this home as the way that is. Other thing that's really important for you to make sure, ZFS healthy. Make sure that you view this scribbling and that it's set up. As a standard, they will already give 12 o'clock at Sunday. If this time your system is off, try to modify and try to make sure that at least once a week this system is running. Why it's important once a week this system is running? Because they will check if your data is not corrupted. If you don't do this check, potentially your data could be corrupted, and that you can lose all your data, or at least lose some files, what is not interesting for it. So make sure that this one is running. Other thing, auto trim, you don't need to set up, can leave off, and here you should set up this disk health. In my case, if I try to set up this smart, will not make any difference, because I'm using a virtual machine, and they will not find any error in this virtual machine. So you don't need to do it, but if you are in a physical computer, set up to do at least once a week. Otherwise, your hard drive can go to fail, you don't know it, you don't replace on time, and that's all your data is lost. If you don't have backup, all your data is lost. So make sure that you set up this one. Basically, you come here, you select the hard drives that you want to do, and that they will do a common smart check for your system. If we come back here, basically we set up all the information that we need for storage. Now we need to set up our data set. This one will be the main tree, and that's we need to create our data set. Inside this data set that we can start to share information, continue on. If I come here, add data set, the name of data set will be data. Generic, yes, totally fine for me, and put save. If you look, this is the top and this is the bottom. If I wanted to create another data set under this one, I can come here, data set, and create. In this case, I didn't do any configuration for this data set. Will be the standard, no encryption, no time, no duplication. In others videos, we're going to explain a little bit more about it. We don't have any data protection, don't have anything, only create the data set. So for me, it's fine. Let's say that I don't want to do any configuration, I only want to make sure that this system is accessible, and I want to have only 1 or 2 users. This stage we stop in the data set, we can come in share folder, add a new Windows. I'll select that specific data set. If you try to select anything up, they will give a warning. This reason that you select only this. This home, if you share it, could have some others application and you don't want to allow it. Now you put save, and they say you need to configure your ACL. In this video, not gonna configure the ACL, so we'll put configure, start, and I'll leave as they are. I will not do any modification. Everything can read, write, and have access. So if I come here in my user, I can create my next user. I'll put as a Sauber. I'll select my password, or define my password, and I will create it. So now I have one user. I have access to this share folder because I didn't create any configuration. And if you look here, they read share as SMB. If I come here, the red appears as SMB. So basically, this is the easiest way for you to access your data through the network. And if you want to check if it's working, I can come here, open this TrueNas. I will go here and put Sauber, the same user that create, my password, login, and now I can access the data, can copy the data and continue on. In the next videos, what we're gonna do, we're gonna focus a little bit more for this ACL, this configuration user, data protection, continue on. But for this video, we arrive in the end. I hope that you guys like this video. If you like this video and think that was interesting, please don't forget to leave your like. Consider subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed, and see you next time. Bye.